code. Right, so are you sitting comfortably? Got me orange pinky socks on, so hopefully you can see my feet. I wasn't putting my shorts on because it's freezing in here. So let's just do a little bit with our posture. So I just want you to just sit on the edge of your chair. Just move that fleshy stuff out of the way so you can try and find the bony bits of your bum. Just keep your hands nice and relaxed, both feet flat on the floor. And let's just think about our posture for the first few moments. So remember, we're starting to think where the base of the spine is, where your coccyx is, your tailbone, and then thinking about each vertebra individually. And imagine those vertebrae are going to be stacked perfectly one on top of the other. So think about the base of your spine and then work up into the lower back, into the mid back, into the upper back, into the base of the skull, into the neck, and then finally that length coming out the top of your head, pulling you up towards the ceiling so that you feel that your back, that your spine is beautifully straight. So we're just going to lift the shoulders up, roll your shoulders back, and then just let them drop. So you feel like your chest is just out slightly with your shoulder blades just being pinned back slightly. And then we can relax into our standard watching daytime TV posture like this. But let's do that again because I want you to imprint that sensation in your mind. So again, just thinking about your tail, thinking about your sit bones, your bum bones into the chair, and then your spine lengthening, being pulled up towards the ceiling. Try and think about creating space in between your vertebra and pulling yourself up so you're nice and tall in your spine. You might think that you're looking down your nose ever so slightly, being a bit posh. Let's lift our shoulders up, roll our shoulders back, and just let them drop. So again, you feel like your chest is out slightly and your shoulder blades are being pulled back slightly. Think how that feels. Try and print that on your memory for later on when we're doing some of our other exercises. And then relax. Right, so posture. Let's get on to our warm-up because it's freezing. Right, so if you are sat down doing your warm-up, that's absolutely fine by me. If you are doing this right now, sat down, I want you to be nice and light on your toes, and I want you to have fairly purposeful arms, so we're not being slack with our arms. We want to be sat up nice and tall like we've just done with our posture, and we're being purposeful with our arms. We've not got spaghetti arms, and we are nice and light on the toes, and we're going at a fairly brisk walking pace. If you're stood up, standing up nice and tall. Again, being nice and purposeful with your arms, and you're landing on your toes, rolling to the heel if you're doing it this way. Still standing up nice and tall though. And if you're standing up, you are transferring your weight from one foot to the other. It's less so if you sat down for obvious reasons. Less so, but you know, both perfectly adequate for doing our warm-up. So nice and light on your toes, nice and light on your feet, whichever version you're doing. We're going to stretch our arms out to the front. So just nice and easy to start off with. You might be cold, you might be a bit stiff because of the weather. So let's not pull any muscles to start off with. We are warming up nice and gently, getting that blood circulating through the body, getting our heart rate up, getting our breathing rate up. So if you are sat down, you're still nice and light on those toes, and you're just extending the arms out alternatively. If you stood up, it's exactly the same. Nice and easy. Remember, if you are doing this stood up and you want to change and just sit back down, then feel free to do so. There's nothing wrong whilst you're in the comfort of your own homes of just changing the exercises as you see fit. You're not competing with anybody. Right, so keeping the feet doing what they're doing this time. Your arms are stretching up. If you are stood up doing this, just be careful of any overhead projections, like your chandeliers, or whatever else you've got dangling from your ceiling. So we're stretching up, reaching up. Lovely job. And stretching forwards. Reaching out forwards. And reaching up. And reaching forwards. And back to normal marching. Okay, so we're going to do this stepping out with the foot. So if you sat down, you're alternating your arms and legs. We're going to lead with the heel. All right, so it's your heel dabbing down. And again, nice and purposeful with those arms, opposite arm and leg if you can manage it. If you're doing this stood up, it's exactly the same. You might think that you're not stretching your leg out as much as you would do if you were sat down. So don't worry too much about that. You don't need to do turns like I'm doing either. I'm just showing you different angles. So dabbing those heels out. Okay, let's change the feet. This time we're going to stretch out and lead with the toes. I want you to try and dab your toes down. So I don't have great flexibility through my ankles. I'm not a ballerina. So actually my heel does make contact with the ground before my toes, but I'm not worried too much about it because I can still feel the stretch through the top of my ankle and through the shin and top of the foot because I'm trying to lead with my toes. We're going back to heels. We're going to change the arms. So we're going to stretch out a little bit more. Stretching out a little bit more. So getting more rotation through the lower back and tummy. Leading with those shoulders. You perhaps starting to get a little bit looser, a little bit warmer. Feeling a little bit more out of breath. They are all perfectly acceptable reactions to doing exercises. So keep the legs doing what they're doing. Your arms are going to stretch up. You're still managing opposite arm and leg? I hope so. Regardless of whether you stood up or sat down. We're reaching forwards. And we're reaching up. And we're reaching forwards. And back to marching. Marching on the spot. So keep your feet doing what they're doing. Your hands are going to come up and just give your hands a shake for me. And then up and down, nice loose wrists. Keep your feet moving. Twisting. And then fingers in and out. And then back to marching. Okay, let's do some toe taps side to side. Get your legs going. Then you can bring your arms into it. So if you stood up, nice and tall. Just getting to that rhythm. You're just extending the toes out, just dabbing your toes out. So you get that movement through the side of the hips. If you are sat down, it's exactly the same. Do make sure that your knees are also traveling out to the sides. You're not keeping your knees together and just your feet going out. Let's reach up. Push away. And reaching up. And pushing away. Back to curls. Let's do some funky chickens. Let's reach up. And chicken. And reach up. And chicken. That's not easy, is it? We'll do some more then. Chicken. Reach up. Chicken. Reach up. Chicken. Once more. Chicken back to curls. Let's push away. Let's go back to curls. And push away. And back to curls. And back to marching. Fabulous. Okay, so let's just ease it down. Let's just bob those heels up and down and just slow it down and just reducing the movement of your arms. And relax there. If you stood up, sit down for me. So we're just going to do a little bit more of a loosener for the lower back area. So both feet flat on the floor and hands on your knees. I'm going to sit up nice and tall. So we're going to do hip circles. Well, not technically hip circles, they're more like torso circles. So this is the one where we use our hands to help us with our range of movement. And you're going to imagine your upper body is doing a circle. So as we come forward, you can take the weight onto your hands. And we're doing this like circular movement. So what I want you to think about is both parts of your bum keep flat on the chair. So we're not lifting a hip up as we turn around. We want to keep both parts of our bum flat on our chair. And we want to try and get the movement from as low down into the hip and into the lower back and into the tummy area as we can. So we're not just kind of like shimmying our shoulders around. We want the movement to come from as low down on our torso as we can. So you can use your hands on your thighs just to help push you through some certain movements, nice and slow. And if you feel a little bit of stiffness through the lower back, then, and it feels nice to kind of like slow down and just ease through that stiffness to try and stretch it out, then please do. So whatever feels comfortable, really, is basically what I'm saying. As you're rolling around, we're going to go around in the other direction, so exactly the same, but it might feel slightly differently. So if you do have that little bit of stiffness and it feels nice to kind of sort of stretch through it, keeping both parts of your bum flat on the chair as you rotate round. Remember, you're trying to get as low, that rotation as low down in your torso as possible. Lovely job. And relax there, just come back to center. So both hands on your knees, sitting up nice and tall, but lifting our arms up level with our own shoulders. So just nice and smooth, just to start off with. We'll go on to big stretches in a moment. You can do this stood up if you want to, but just be careful of anything overhead, because we're going to stretch up nice and high, really stretching up and then lowering back down. And again, stretching up as high as you can and then slowly back down. This time when we stretch up, we're going to lean across to one side. And again, if you sat down, just keep your bum flat on the chair, coming back up and then leaning across to the other side. And then stretching back up. Now stretch those fingertips up towards the ceiling. And then slowly bring those hands back down and give your shoulders a bit of a shake. A little bit more with the shoulders. So this time we're going to touch the shoulders. And we're going to roll those elbows around. Just nice and easy. I know there might be some crunching, some grinding, so hopefully it's not painful. If it is painful, then obviously just reduce the range of movement. But we're just trying to increase the range of movement with this, keeping nice and flexible through the shoulder joint. We're going to go in the other direction, so just rolling those elbows around, nice and smooth. Might feel slightly different to the other direction. And relax there, just come back. Right, so one arm on top of the other, and we're going to do some twists. So we're just going to start off doing our usual twists. And again, just think about moving through the lower back, through the hips, through the tummy. So we're not just moving the head or the shoulders or the elbows from side to side, not doing this. We want to get that movement through the spine. And we're just going to increase that. So this time as you rotate, you're going to extend the arm behind you and then come back to center and then round the other side. Look at your hand as you rotate round. If you're doing this stood up, just be careful, because this actually turns into a bit of a balance exercise if you're doing this stood up. So just following the hand as you rotate round. We'll do one more on each side. And when you've done that, no rush, just come back to the center and relax and just give your shoulders a little bit of a shake. So if you stood up, we are going to do some movement for our legs, so it might be easy to sit down for this. You can do it stood up if you want to. It's this one where we're kicking out to the front. So just nice and easy. Don't worry if your knees are a bit sore today and you can't fully straighten the leg if you're doing a modified version, so a smaller swing. That's okay, because you will still feel it through the top of the leg and through the thigh. And you are still moving your knee joint after all as well. Just the foot up and down, keeping the ankles loose. And we're going to go side to side with the foot. And a circle in one direction. And circles round in the other direction. And the other leg for me, please. Again, exactly the same. Just swinging from the knee, forwards and backwards. And now just the ankle up and down. And side to side. And then a circle with the foot, just as big a movement as you can in the ankle joint. and then round in the other direction. And relax there. Sit down for me if you stood up. We're just going to finish off, just give a very quick, some hip circles. So knees together, feet together. Sitting up nice and tall. I have to make sure I've got that right now. It didn't sound right coming out of my mouth. A leg, we're going to lift up, out, down, and in. So you've got the movement, this up, out, down, and in, just making it a little bit more circular and smoother and steady there. Let's do the other side. Up, out, down, and in. And again, up, out, down, and in. Again, nice and smooth and circular. One more on this side. And relax. Onto the other leg, we'll go in the other direction. So that means we slide, we lift, come in and down. Slide, lift in and down. One more. Lovely. And the other leg, slide, lift in and down. Slide, lift in, down. One more. Marvelous. Okay, so relax there. Right, so without further ado, I am going to crack on with our dynamic balance exercises. So I've got 5 we're going to get through. And as I said at the start, rest if you need to have a rest, sit down if you need to have a sit down. I will give you a few little different options to make the exercise either a little bit easier or a little bit harder. So without further ado, just in your own time for me, please stand up and make your way to your support. My support is over here. So the first exercise we're going to do is the pelican swing, which is this one-legged swing. Let me show you what it is first of all, and then you can join in. It is an exercise you've done with me before. So what I would recommend is you stand side onto your support rather than facing your support, otherwise you're just going to hurt your knee. So my supporting leg is going to be the leg nearest to my support, and I'm just going to keep my hand resting gently on the top of the support. So this leg that's closest to the support, I'm really going to think about fixing down into the ground. I'm going to think about my posture. And my weight now is over this leg, my supporting leg, which allows me movement of this leg, which is closest to the camera. I'm going to stand up nice and tall. I'm going to look straight ahead. I'm going to fix on something that isn't going to move, a mark on the wall. And then I'm going to start swinging my legs. So you'll notice I've got a bent knee to the front. I've got a bent foot behind me. So the movement comes from the hip, and it's this pendulum movement, this swinging movement, this rhythmical movement that I'm trying to achieve. I'm going to try, join in if you've got it, join in if you've got it, that's it. You can keep your hand in contact with your support, your head is still, your chest is still. We're not swinging our torsos up and down, otherwise we're just going to lose our balance and fall over. Let me come back here just a little bit, then you can see me. So as you get into this rhythm, your standing leg will start to ache. So that's what I mean. Do rest if you need to have a rest. Think about what you want to do with your hand. So you might just want to keep your hand in contact with your support at all times. That's absolutely fine. You may think you can lift your hand just an inch or two and then lower it back down. You may think you can keep your hand off the support for a little bit longer, which is obviously much more challenging. This is our first dynamic balance exercise. I want you to relax there because it is pretty tough on that standing leg and through the hips as well. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. Right. I'm going to turn around this way. We're going to do the other side. Hang on a second. Let me go here. We're going to do the other side. So again, my supporting leg, the leg that has just been swinging, is going to go closest to the support. And I'm going to press it nice and firm down into the ground because that's going to take my weight. This is what I want to balance on. It allows me to be able to move my other leg. I'm going to find my point on the wall. In this case, it's a mirror. You can't see that. There's a mirror just right there. So I'm going to find my point on the mirror. That's my balance point there. I'm going to focus on it. That point is not going to move. I've got my hand in contact with my support. And then I'm going to start to swing the leg. Remember, the knee bends to the front and then bends behind. So everything comes from the hip, this pendulous movement, nice and smooth. And as I get into my rhythm, I know that pressure starts to build in the standing leg, but I want to experiment what I can do with my hand, perhaps just as I said before, just lifting it just a couple of inches and then putting it back down. And as I become more confident, I can keep my hand just above my support. I can always put it down if I feel like I'm losing my balance. So just, oh, there we go. Nearly lost it then, the balance that is. So just nice and smooth. Couple of more swings for me. I know that standing leg is hurting. And relax there. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. All right, everyone okay? Sit down if you need to have a rest. I won't judge you for that at all. Right, okay. So this next exercise, we did a couple of weeks ago. I think it was the first time I tried it. So if you missed that particular session a few weeks ago, this will be a brand new exercise to you. What I'm going to suggest you do is you stand behind your support. For the purposes of the demonstration, I'm going to pretend I'm standing behind my support. Okay. Both feet flat on the floor, standing up nice and tall. We're just thinking about our postures like we did at the start. Let's move that around the corner. So I am holding, or I'm just resting my hands just on the top of my support. And I'm standing up nice and tall. My legs, I'm just going to move just a little bit wider than usual. All right, so we're going to move from side to side now, transferring our weight from one foot to the other foot. We're going to start off, we're going to keep both feet in contact with the floor, but as we progress, if you want to, I will describe how you can just have one foot in contact with the floor. It will become apparent in a moment. So imagine you're holding onto your support, and what we're going to do is we're going to shift our weight across so that the weight comes onto this leg, and my toes are just in contact with the ground over here. So I've shifted everything across onto this outside leg. And then I'm going to go in the other direction. So I'm going to shift across onto the toes. So I've got this little swaying movement. There's a bend in the knees, and I'm transferring my weight from one leg to the other. But my toes stay in contact with the floor just until I get used to it, until I get used to this rhythmic movement from side to side. There's not a deep bend, but there is a bend in my knees. It's just to cushion that movement as we go from one side, transferring our centre of gravity and our weight from one leg to the other leg. So as you start to get used to this movement, this swaying movement, what can you do with your hands? Can you keep just one hand in contact with your support? Are you lifting both hands up? You can always put them back down. Or are you feeling fairly confident in taking your hands completely off the back of your support? So you might be thinking, this is all right, I can do this all day, thank you very much. How about taking a foot, that outside foot, off the ground now as you move from side to side. So you're still bending both knees as you travel across. The toes now are coming off the ground. It's not a big movement, it's just a couple of inches. But now I'm really starting to feel this through the hips. And my balance is being tested very differently because we're moving from side to side. It's not normally a movement we do, is it, in day-to-day life? A side-to-side movement. We normally move forwards, don't we? You've got to have that control, otherwise you can lose it and overbalance. So you can always have your support, you can always put your hand back down. I want you to relax there, just come back and just give your legs a little bit of a shake. Right. How are we doing for time? Blimey, I wanted to do some more of that, but I'm not sure I've got time. We might come back to that one because I do quite like it. In the meantime, right, so we're going to do another balance exercise. That one, you know, I was asking you to keep your toe in contact with the floor as you were moving from side to side. And then eventually we took the toe off the ground, and that was the side-to-side movement. We're going to do something a little bit similar, except going backwards. All right, so much more difficult, this one. So I want you to stand behind your support, both hands on your support. So what we're going to do here is we're going to slide a leg back and allow the torso, allow the head to come forward slightly. Keep your hands in contact with the ground. Let me just come back here. Just trying to get where you can. Is that better if I do it that way? Sorry. Trying to get where you can see me. Let's try that again. So we've got both hands in contact with our support. We slide a leg back and allow the head and chest to fall forwards. And I'm on the toes here. And this leg closest to my support, there's a bend in it. And then I'm going to slide up. I'm going to do the other leg. I'm sliding back, toes, sliding up. So again, I'm just going to get into a rhythm. My head comes down, my chest comes down. So when we turn this into a balance exercise in a moment, it's much harder because your head is going up and down. So you can't fix on a particular spot, because as I say, your head and eyes are going up and down. So what you can try and do from here is experiment with your hands. Experiment with your hands. So you can go to one hand. Can you lift both hands off the back of the chair? You can always put them back down. All right, so relax there. Just give your legs just a little bit of a shake. So you don't need to be a professor or brains of Britain to know what's coming next. We're going to try and lift that back leg off the ground. So it's the same movement, and just bringing that back leg off the ground just a couple of inches, and then bringing it back. Then the other side. So you'll notice I'm starting off, I'm keeping my hands in contact with my support. I'm not coming too far forward with my head and chest, and I'm not lifting my leg back up really high. It's just a couple of inches. And I'm just going to get into this rhythm. This rhythm. And then I'm going to see what I can do with my hands. Can I take one hand off my support? Can I take both hands off my support? Just see how you feel. You might just want to keep one hand in contact. You might want to slow it down. You might want to have a rest. You might want to go back to the first version where you keep your toes in contact with your support, with the floor. If you wanted to, you've got that option. Dynamic balance exercises. All right, one more on each side. And then relax there. Give your legs just a little bit of a shake. So those first three exercises we've done quite quickly. I've not had you standing still and doing things really slowly. Because in real life, when you practice, when you need your balance, you're not doing it slowly when you need balance. It's something that happens quite quickly and you need to react to it where you need that balance. And we've talked about it before where someone's coming towards you and they're on a push bike and you need to dodge out the way. That movement to one side to avoid something, that's balance. You spot something on the, an uneven pavement, some mess on the floor, and you need to step up, you need to react to it and move to one side. That is dynamic balance, and you've got to react. It's not slow. You're not standing on one leg going, right, here we go, I've moved out. You're not on the move. So that's why those first three exercises we've done quite quickly. Okay, we've got two more to do. I'm going to do next tightrope walk. We'll do tightrope walk next. So you've all done tightrope walk with me before. What you'll need to do is you've got your support and stand side onto your support. But what I want you to do is I want you to try and be at arm's length. So you're still in contact, but I'm away from my support. I don't want to start here on the back of my chair. I want to give myself a little bit of room. So the tightrope, let me face the camera. So the tightrope position, which you are familiar with, we are trying, come back here, you are trying to have your feet in a line as if you stood on a tightrope with your heel in contact with the toes. That makes sense, and we're standing up nice and tall. I know for some of you, for various reasons, this is quite a difficult position to be in. So we've spoken about it before. What you can do is just move your front foot across by not much, a couple of inches, just to help you to get into that position. Because you've got this narrow base, it still becomes a balance exercise. You don't have to worry about being heel toe. You have just slightly come across. You've still got that narrow base. Your heel is still in line with the toes. You've just shifted it across slightly. Hopefully you're getting that through on the camera where I'm wearing salmon pink socks. So the tightrope walk, you're in contact with your support. I want you to get into that tightrope position. So either a proper tightrope position or you're on the balance beam where you just shift that front foot across. You stood up nice and tall and we're going to walk forwards. But you're going to keep your hand in contact with your support. So you're always within reach. Always within reach as you come forwards. When you get to the end of your support, keep your head up. I want you to go backwards. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. And then you're at the full extent of your reach, if you like, in contact with your support. And then go forwards again. So just in your own time now, nice and steady, not racing. You're probably going to step 5 or 6 steps before you reach the extent of your support, and then you go in the other direction. So it's probably 5 or 6 steps in one direction, 5 or 6 steps in the other. And when we're doing this little sequence here, you are looking straight ahead, trying to keep your head up. You're fixed on that point on the wall to help you balance. And you're just nice and controlled. You're not leaning over onto your support. You're not resting all your weight onto your shoulder here. That hand in contact with your support is just there for guidance and reassurance. You're not strengthening the arm that's in contact with your support. Okay, so just relax there and just give your legs just a little bit of a shake. Dynamic balance exercises. So we're going to do that again. You can carry on doing that exactly the same if you want to. If you do on the added difficulty and you feel fairly confident in doing so, try closing your eyes. If you feel your balance is going to go, just open your eyes. All right? Don't think I must keep my eyes closed for the whole period. Oh, I'm falling. Just open your eyes and just reassess yourself. Just get back to it and then join back in when you can. If closing your eyes is too much today and you want to keep your eyes open, that is fine. That's option number 1, closing your eyes. Option number 2 is to let go of your support. Okay, I would not recommend letting go of your support and closing your eyes, one or the other. Close your eyes or let go of your support. Okay, so I'm going to keep my eyes open so I can look at the camera. So get you back into your position. So you're at arm's length in contact with your support. You're back on that tightrope position. Your chest is lifted, and then you're going to start to move forward. So I'm going to do the version where I let go. And again, it's just 5 or 6 steps. I can always put my hand back down if I want to. If you're doing it with your eyes closed, much harder. You might be more reliant on your support, but again, it's just 5 or 6 paces, and then tricky bit, 5 or 6 paces going backwards. Open your eyes if you need to. Just nice and controlled. Take your time. And I want you to relax there. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. So, I'm going to do one more standing up exercise, and then we're going to sit down and have a rest. The last one I'm going to do, so you've just done a tightrope walk forwards and backwards. We're going to do a tiptoe walk now. So very similar to the last one, we're going to stay within reach, within arm's length of our support. Our feet are a little bit close together, side by side. And we're going to stand on our tiptoes, coming up nice and tall. Keep your chest up. You don't need to look down at your toes. You know what your toes look like? And we're going to walk forward on our tiptoes. And again, staying in contact with your support. When you get to the end, same again, going backwards. If you need to come down and just give your legs a little bit of a shake, please do. And then come back up onto your tiptoes, staying in contact with your support, just resting those fingertips and backwards. So adjust in your own time and rest if you need to have a rest. Come back down onto both feet properly. If you need to give your legs a little bit of a rest. And if you're feeling confident and you want to let go of your support, still doing those 5 or 6 steps forwards and backwards, and give that a go. Keep your chest up, keep your head up. All right, one more forwards, one more backwards, and then when you've done that, you can have a sit down and have a rest. Don't rush, don't rush. Okay, right, so if you've done that little sequence, that last little sequence of tiptoes, just take your time, just have a sit down for me, please. You'll need your resistance bands. Right, hopefully you're all okay. Good, I'll just give you a second just to get your bands. Fabulous. Right, so we're just going to do a little bit of work for our upper body using our resistance bands. Give your legs a rest. Don't have to think about them anymore, just for a moment. So I just want you to recall that, that position that you were in at the very start where we talked about our posture. So we're not slouching this way. We want to, just while we're doing our resistance band exercises, just recall that memory of what it feels like to have a nice tall posture whilst we do these exercises. Right, okay, so you've got your band, you've laid it across your lap, palms down. I want you to pick up your band, and I want your hands about 12 inches apart. And we're sitting up nice and tall. We're keeping that back nice and straight, and our arms out to the front here, just about level with your chest. And then from here, we're just going to pull apart. So we're just going to keep the arms straight, and then just nice and controlled, bringing it back in. When we do these movements, we're looking for symmetry. So we're looking for equal effort in both sides as we pull apart, and then just nice and controlled as we bring it back in. So this is strengthening through the shoulders and through the back of the arms. A little bit of work going on with the back as well. But it's just nice and controlled, symmetry. Plus you're not thinking about your legs now, are you? Okay, just one more for me. We're just going to modify this slightly. And then relax, just bring that band down. Okay, I want you to move your hands a little bit wider on your band. So they are, ooh, what are we at there? 2 foot, 2.5 foot? Wider anyway. So you've got some give in your band. Okay, so again, arms straight. This time we're just going to bring the band up so it's just above the kneecaps. It's just above the kneecaps, so it's quite low down. Sitting up nice and tall, and again, we're just going to pull apart. How far can you go this time? And then back in. So pulling apart, symmetry, equal effort in your left and right sides, and back in. Pull apart, and back in. Just one more for me. Pull apart, and back in. Keep the hands where they are. Just give your shoulders a bit of a shake. So this time we're going to lift up level with our own shoulders. Same again. Pull it apart, and back in. Nice and controlled. Pull apart, and back in. So just using these muscles ever so slightly differently. Changing the angles. One more for me. Beautiful, lovely. Bring the band down, keep the hands where they are. Just give your shoulders a bit of a shake. All right, so we're going to go high now. Go as high as you can. If you can get both hands, both arms above your head, if you can get the band above your head, that's brilliant. If you can't, don't worry about it. Just get your arms up as high as you can. So we're going to lift up. So you might get your arms sort of like level with the top of your head. You might get a little bit higher. You might be able to come all the way up. Wherever you are, still keeping that posture. Pull apart, nice and controlled, and then back together. So pull apart and back together. And again. Okay, just one more for me. And then gently bring those arms back down. Just give your shoulders a bit of a shake. Keep your hands where they are. Right, so we're going to do low, medium, high, low, medium, high, low, medium, high. All right, so let's start low, just above your knees, pull, and back in. Medium height, pull, back to the start. High, pull, and back down to low, pull, and medium, pull, and high, pull, back down to low, pull, and back in. Medium height. Okay, high, this is the last one. This is the last one. Beautiful, nice and controlled, all the way down, and give your shoulders a bit of a shake. Fabulous. Okay, so take your band, fold it in half, and lay it across your lap. Just give your hands a bit of a shake if you need to. My hands are like blocks of ice. Right, so more pull apart, except this time our palms are uppermost. We scoop up our band, and this is the one where we're going to do the pull apart first, and then the pull in. Okay, so your hands are about 12 inches apart. We're going to start off with our arms extended, keeping that posture nice and tall. And then from here, again, equal effort in your left and right sides, we're going to pull the band apart and relax. So because the band, pull, by the way, because the band is folded in half, it's obviously much harder. So you're not getting quite as much movement as you were in the previous exercise. We'll pull it apart and relax. Just one more for me. Pull apart and relax. Just drop those arms down and give your shoulders a shake. So we'll add the second part. The second part is where we draw the band in towards the tummy. We keep the tension on the band, and we're trying to slide those elbows back as far as we can, whilst keeping our posture nice and tall and not holding our breath. Whew. Right, I'm going to sit at a quirky angle. I'm going to sit side on. So, arms out. We're going to do 10 of these, by the way. Hopefully I can keep count. We're going to pull apart and pull in and squeeze the shoulder blades and relax. There's one. So arms out, pull apart and in, squeeze, 2, relax. Arms out, apart and in, squeeze, 3. Arms out, apart and in. I think that's 4. Relax, arms out, apart and in. 5, keep that posture, arms out, apart and in. Squeeze, so shoulder blades. That's 6, apart, pull, in. I think that's 7, relax, arms out, apart and in. Squeeze those shoulder blades. 8, relax, arms out, pull apart and in. That's 9. The last one we're going to do really slowly. Arms out, pull apart, keep the tension on that band, slowly pull that band in towards your tummy, keep pulling on the band, squeeze those shoulder blades, don't hold your breath, keep pulling apart on the band, keep squeezing those shoulder blades, and relax there, and give your shoulders a shake. Fabulous. Okay. Shall I do one more? We'll just squeeze in one more. I did have 3 more exercises today, but we're running out of time, so I'm just going to do one more. We'll do a nice, easy one to finish. So unfold your band, hold the ends of your band. You've created your loop here. Just going to drop that towards the ground, and then both feet are going to go in the band. So we're just going to finish off just with a bicep curl. Remember, your biceps are these muscles on the inside part of your arm. So a nice, easy one to finish. You can hold the band where you want to. If you hold the ends of your band, you're going to find the exercise easier. But if you shimmy your hands down the band just to create more tension through the resistance band, you're going to make the muscles work a little bit harder. So it's entirely up to you, depending on how you're feeling. Bearing in mind, we're coming towards the end of our session. So we're going to tuck our elbows in nice and close to the body. We're sitting up nice and tall. both arms now. Your elbow is the pivot point as you bring your fists up towards your shoulders and then slowly bring the hands back down. So the movement is just the forearms and the fists that are moving. You're not moving the upper arm. You're trying to keep that upper arm tucked close into the side of your body. You certainly don't want those elbows wiggling around, traveling forwards, doing any of this. So we'll keep those elbows tucked in. And as we've talked about earlier, we're looking for symmetry, we're looking for equal effort. Adjust your hands on the band if you want to, either to make it a little bit easier by moving your hands further towards the end of the band, or if you want to make it harder, you shimmy your hands closer to the center of the band. Okay, so just relax there just for a moment. Let me just turn side on. Just relax, give your arms a shake. Okay, sitting up nice and tall. Both arms all the way up towards your shoulders. Hold that position. We're going to lower on a count of 5. Wait for it. It'll be my count of 5. You ready? So slowly lower. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight back up. Hold that position. Sitting up nice and tall. Same again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straight back up. Not done this for a little while, have we? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one, all the way up. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Hold it. Don't hold your breath. Wait for it. Wait for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 2.5, 2, 1, and relax there. Give your arms a little bit of a shake. Step off your band. Pull your band to one side. Finish with those. And just give your hands a shake. Fingers in and out. Shaking again. Fingers in and out. And then twisting. Just shaking out that tension from gripping that resistance band. Or gripping the top of your chair when you're doing balance exercises. Fingers in and out again. Lovely. All right. Shoulders up and down. Fabulous. Okay, so one hand in front of the other. Let's finish off with our stretches. So we're going to push both hands out so you feel that stretch across the upper back, back of your shoulders, base of your neck, pushing those hands out. And then just relax. And then we're going to go again, pushing away. And then gently coming back. Let's do the chest. So hands onto the small of your back or onto your chair. Doesn't really matter. We're going to roll the shoulders back and then push the chest forward. So allow the shoulders to come back first and then push the chest forward just to increase that stretch through the front of shoulders and chest. And then relax. So shoulders back, then push the chest forward. Lovely, and relax there. Hands down by your sides. We're going to gently do some side bends. So we're keeping both parts of your bum flat on the chair. And we're trying to move our torso from the hip area, from the lower part of your side body. That area between your hip bone and the bottom of your ribs. That's the area we're just trying to stretch. We're not moving our arms up and down. We want the movement to come from here, to get the stretch here. So just nice and rhythmical. We're just going to change it. So we're going to lean across in one direction, let our arm hang heavy, and then the top hand is going to come up and just rest on your temple or your cheek or your ear. We're just increasing the stretch now all the way down from the armpit towards the hip. And we're keeping both parts of the bum flat on the chair. It is tempting to lift this sit bone. We don't want to do that. And we're going to come across the other side exactly the same. Just getting a slightly deeper stretch through that side body. Letting this arm hang heavy. touching the side of your temple or your ear, just to get a deeper stretch through that side, keeping both parts of your bum flat on the chair. And relax there, just coming back up. So shoulders, I'm going to reach across. I'm just going to change this slightly. So instead of holding onto the elbow, what I want you to try, and you can do this if you want to, what I want you to try and do is hook the crook of your elbow against the elbow. Can you manage that? Is that working for you? If it's not, you can go back to the original version, that's absolutely fine. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're just going to turn, just ever so slightly, to get a really deeper stretch through the back of the shoulder now. You can just notice on the camera, I've just turned just a couple of degrees to one side. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to unravel. So I'm going to do the other side. So the other arm reaches across the front of the body. If you can't manage it, you can go back to the usual version where you're just resting hand on your elbow, or try and get the crook of your elbow against elbow. And then there's a bit of a pull there and a little bit of a twist as well. It's quite a deep stretch, this. And then we're going to gently ease out of that and just give your shoulders a little bit of a shake. Let's do a little bit with our legs. So as always, sitting on the edge of your chair, extending the leg out, get that leg as straight as you can. Let's do the lower leg first by pointing our toes up towards the ceiling to get that calf stretch. And then we're going to point the toes forward to stretch through the top of the foot and the ankle. And then toes back up towards the ceiling. Relax that foot, both hands onto your bent leg. We're sitting up tall, and then we take the weight of our torso to protect our backs onto our bent leg, gently leaning forward until we start to feel the stretch now through the back of the thigh. I'm just relaxing here now. Might feel a bit more of a stretch through the bum or through the back, depending on how stiff you're feeling today. But do take a breath out. See if you can drop slightly deeper into your stretch. And then we're going to gently, using our hands, we're going to push back up to our seated position so that we protect our back. This straight leg now, we're going to bend, we're going to grab the knee, and then we're going to pull up that knee as high as we can, so that we get that stretch now through the hip and through the glutes. And then we're going to relax and drop that leg back down. We're going to do the same on the other side. So extend our other leg out, point the toes up towards the ceiling, feeling that stretch through the calf and the Achilles. And we're pointing our toes forward, stretching through the top of the foot and ankle. And then pulling back, toes towards the ceiling again. And just relax your foot, both hands onto your bent leg, sitting up nice and tall. And again, just taking the weight of your upper body on these hands as you lean forward, so you're controlling that movement, you're controlling that forward fold until you start to feel a stretch through the back of that thigh. Maybe you feel it through the back of the knee. But again, we're just trying to relax. Try and think about the lower back relaxing and your bum relaxing. And take a breath out. See if you can go slightly deeper to your stretch. And then using your hands, again, you're going to push back up towards your seated position. This straight leg is now going to bend. You grab your knee and pull up that knee as high as you can. And give it a good squeeze, a good hug, stretching out through the bum. And then very gently, you're going to drop that back down. Okay, a little bit of a twist. So we're going to take one hand onto our opposite knee. The other hand is going to come round and either hold onto the small of your back, or you might want to rest it onto the side of the chair. We're going to sit up tall, and then we're going to use this hand that's in contact with the knee to gently help us rotate the whole of the torso. So think about the whole of your spine turning round. You're not just moving your shoulders or your head. You do want to try and get this movement through the waist and through the lower back, but keeping tall. And then we're gently going to come back to the center. We'll do the other side. So hand onto your opposite knee, hand onto the side of your chair, sit up tall, and then gently pulling yourself round, getting that really deep stretch through the torso. And then gently coming back through to the center. Some shrugs up and down, and then rolling those shoulders backwards. And I think we'll do our assisted neck stretches today, just while I've got 60 seconds. So I want you to take one hand and wedge it under your bum. Sit on that hand. If these neck stretches, these assisted neck stretches are too deep for you and you want to do the usual neck stretches, please do, okay? But if you want something slightly deeper, then just take it nice and steady. You are in control of these stretches. So you've sat on your hand. This other hand now is going to come over the top of your head. And you're trying to get your fingertips on the top of your ear. That's what we're aiming for. And then using this hand now, gently easing the head across so that we get the stretch now through the side of the neck and through the top of the shoulder as well, because this shoulder is depressed because we're sat on the hand. It can't lift up. And now you're in control of this stretch, so you can apply as much pressure as you want to through your hand onto the side of the head. Clearly without ripping your own head off. I wouldn't recommend that. I'm just going to gently come back to center and release that pressure. We're going to do the same on the other side. So sit on your other hand. Your spare hand now is going to come over the top and aiming to rest your fingertips just on the very top of your ear. We're sitting up tall. And again, we're just going to gently ease the head across to get the stretch through the side of the neck and into the top of the shoulder. Just gently applying that pressure, depending on how you are feeling. Shouldn't hurt. And I'm gently, again, just going to ease that, bring the head up, and then coming off your hand. So we're going to do the one for the base of the skull now. So it's a little bit trickier, this one. Just let me come round on a quirky angle. In fact, no, let me do this way. I don't mind which hand, but a hand is going to come from the front of your, right in front of your face, over the top of your head, and you're aiming for that knobbly bit at the base of your skull. So you want to try and get your fingertips on that knobbly bit that sticks out at the base of your skull. And then from here, keep your torso still, but now use your hand to help bring your chin to chest. Now, we're not leaning forward here. We just want the head, we just want the neck to be eased down until you feel that stretch now through the base of the skull and really deep into the neck. Don't hold your breath. And then very gently, just release that pressure and release your hand. So the last one we're going to do is the side-to-side one. So normally we just turn our head, wouldn't we? We'd do that, but we're going to assist it. So you're just going to put a hand just on the side of your face, on your cheek, on your jaw, sitting up nice and tall. Then you're going to turn your head round to look over your shoulder. Now this hand that's on the side of your face is just going to apply a little bit of pressure, just to make that stretch, just to make that twist slightly deeper. And again, it shouldn't be painful. You're just trying to get just a couple of millimeters further round on that twist. And then we're going to ease out of that, and we're going to do the other side. So hands resting on the side of your face, turn your head and eyes round to look over your shoulder, and then apply that pressure onto the side of your face or cheek, just to increase the stretch. Remember, it's just your head that's moving. You shouldn't be moving your shoulders or your body to rotate, just your head. And then relax, coming back through to the center. Right, give your hands a final shake. Give your legs a pat down and give yourself a round of applause for today. Well